Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here. This is my first time presenting in front of a crowd like this, so a little bit nervous. But yeah, I'm here to talk about Trees, Please. It's a new program that BEC has. It started last year in 2002, and I was able to build it from the ground up. And yeah, so it's just been a really nice journey. Relief gave us a first round of trees, which was 75 trees. And they liked this program so much, they said, hey, do you want to plant 180 more trees? And we were like, that's a big goal, but all right, we'll go with it. So we're still trying to finish the 180 trees, which finishes in October. So hopefully we can get those trees in the ground, especially with the hot summer months coming up. We gotta pause tree planting for a little bit. A little bit about Butte Environmental Council. We're a 501c3 nonprofit based out of Chico, California. We were founded in 1975, and our mission is to protect and defend the land, air, and water of Butte County and the surrounding region through action, advocacy, and education. We have so many programs and events, it's not even funny. We have a really small staff of about 5 people, and we have interns and climate action fellows helping us accomplish our program goals and events. Some of those are, we have an Oakway Community Garden where community members can lease a plot on a year basis and grow their own food, medicine, and other things inside the garden. We have various different tree planting programs. We partner with the city to plant trees in residential areas, and that's actually how I got started in my journey with BEC. I got hired as an Urban Forest Coordinator Intern. What that means is I coordinated tree planting events inside of residential neighborhood front yards. Yeah, that was quite fun, but now this program is more focused on the schools and parks and community shared spaces. Other things that we do, we host creek cleanups. Our most notable cleanup is our Bidwell Park and Chico Creeks cleanup held every September. This draws in about 500 plus community members and literally remove tons of trash from 15 miles worth of waterways and parks in Chico. So super amazing, a staple event inside of Chico. Everybody looks forward to it. And yeah, some other events are our Bicycle Music Festival, which promotes bike riding, and it's a super cool event. Community members ride their bike through downtown, music plays, and then they end up at like a festival type deal. And some other stuff is we do a lot of classroom education. A component of this program involves going into classrooms and talking about the importance of trees, and I'll touch a little bit more about that in a second. And so there's just some pictures displayed of all those different types of things we have going on. So our program overview is Trees Please plants 15-gallon shade, ornamental, and fruit trees in schools, parks, and other community shared spaces. Yeah, and we, you could see on your left is a park tree planting, in the middle is that same park tree planting, and then on the right is at a school. In the field, students learn tree planting fundamentals by engaging with staff and volunteers to get the trees in the ground. This is super fun for the kids because they get to, as some of you all know, by planting trees with kids, they love getting their hands dirty and playing in the dirt and just, you know, they're not really 100% planting the tree. You know, you just have them throw some dirt in the hole and rake up the roots a little bit. And yeah, it's super cool. They just feel like they actually did something good for the environment on their school campus. And in the classroom, students learn the important role that trees play in keeping communities strong and healthy. They learn this through a fun and engaging presentation, and it comes with a little game at the end. You could see our educator, Shelby, on the right is reading a story to some preschool students before they actually go out, and their activity was planting a tree on their campus. So they got to learn something and then take the information that they learned and actually applied it in the field. This day was actually a really rainy and stormy day, and we decided to follow through with the tree planting still, but they had a great time, and you'll see some more pictures of that event later. Some community partners that we have, a really important partner that we have is the City of Chico's Urban Forester. While I was an intern doing residential tree plantings, he gave me a lot of really valuable information, and to this day with our relief contract, even though we had a separate contract with the city, he still provides support and technical advice, and sometimes donates trees to us and stuff like that. So we have a really good connection with the City of Chico, and I don't think I would be as good of a outdoor tree person without all the valuable information he's given. Some school districts, we're very close with the City of Chico Unified, or the Chico Unified School District. Luckily, our executive director serves on the school board for the Chico Unified, so we were able to plant trees in that school district fairly quickly and easily. And Gridley Unified School District and Sherwood Montessori and Orland took a little bit more time and outreach to get trees into those places, just because we didn't have a established connection with them prior, but we actually ended up getting some trees in the ground for them, and will get some trees in the ground for Orland. Some more parks that we've planted in are Chico Area Recreation District. It's a special district inside at Chico, and it's called CARD. City of Oroville Parks and Recreation is the first park that we planted in outside of Chico, and Paradise Parks and Recreation District up in Paradise, where they had the campfire. We were able to plant trees up there in the burn scar, which was super cool to increase the tree canopy up there. So this is what trees look like inside of the schools. I know one of the pictures you can barely see because it still hasn't grown its leaves, but one challenge with planting schools and trees was a budget challenge. We didn't anticipate Chico Unified wanting us to plant 3 8-foot metal T-posts, which are very expensive compared to the wooden T-posts. So that's just one thing we had to deal with. And I'm a visual person, so I brought some visuals for you all to see. Okay, cool. Whoops. Okay, so Victoria is holding a cocoa mat, and that's something that we place around the base of the trunk of the tree to prevent weeds from encroaching on the tree. It doesn't work 100% completely keep the weeds from encroaching on your tree, but it does add some time, so you don't have to provide as much maintenance on the tree as soon. And then this right here is what we call a trunk protector. It's not one that you would traditionally buy from the store. It's upcycled like PVC lining that we got donated, but it still works. So yeah, and then got some more to show later. But that's some trees for schools, and then parks received 2 8-foot wooden T-posts, a trunk protector, cocoa mat, and mulch. They do look a little bit different, but I think they look more aesthetically pleasing than the 8-foot metal T-posts. But that's just my opinion. In some special cases, this is a tree planting that happened in Paradise, and something that we didn't anticipate or are very unfamiliar with are deer browsing on your trees. And so when we were planting up there, the Paradise Parks Department was like, so what kind of caging you got? We're like, huh? Caging? And they're like, yeah, the deer are gonna mess up your trees, so you gotta find some caging. So we luckily, our executive director lives in Forest Ranch, and she has a wide variety of weird things on her property. And this fencing was something that she had on her property, and was like, hey, I'll donate this to you, and you can just cage your trees with this. And thank goodness it worked out, and I think it was a success. And in one of the pictures, you can see the birds enjoying the tree right after we planted it. So the benefits of trees happening right before our eyes by providing habitat. Another special case is for irrigation. When an irrigation line can't be hooked up immediately and places need to water the trees, we provide an ooze tube. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of an ooze tube. Okay, very few people. Victoria, can I? Okay, so this is what the ooze tube is. It comes with a metal stick, yeah. And you just place it around the trunk of the tree, and there's like a little slot for you to insert a garden hose into. And you just fill it with water, and it holds water for about a week. And you see that stake and then those slits, you just weave the stake through the slits, and it stays intact, and it's just a little bag that provides a slow drip irrigation system. And we also have these drip emitters that you insert into the bottom, and that's what emits the water over the course of a week. So yeah, we like to put the writing on the inside of the tree also. So yeah, so it's more aesthetically pleasing. We just try to keep the aesthetics looking as nice as possible. And these can get very expensive, so that's why it's considered a special case. We encourage places that are receiving trees to install irrigation for the tree, but we will provide these as a temporary service. Thank you, Victoria. Some signage, as you all may know, signage that's required at all of your tree planting events and trees. We created the signs on an A-frame and then just added a little note about today's tree planting. So we'll just customize it per tree planting. You can't really see it that well in pictures, so we just started to use a piece of paper and just wrote it on there and taped it. It takes away from the picture in the back, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And in the middle is what we place on our trees. It's just to let viewers know about the tree and the benefits and who the funders are, and to contact us if they themselves want a tree or to volunteer. So just another way to get the word out there. I brought some examples today if anybody wanted to take a look at it after. Some educational materials that we have for teachers are books that we give them after they participate in a tree planting event with us, and they are tailored to grade level. The blue book is for like the older kids, and then the tall trees for younger kids, maybe second through third grade, and then Tree Full of Wonders for the little kiddos. It's like a little counting book. And on the inside of the book, we put a sticker that talks about the program and the benefits of trees, and it's just there to serve as a memory for the teacher to remember the tree planting event that they participated with us in. And another thing that we give kids that participate in tree planting events with us is a activity book. So they can color and just engage with educational material related to urban forests and keeping the communities healthy and caring for trees and how to plant a tree. And the idea behind this is that they take this home with them, and maybe their brother or sister or cousin or grandma, whoever, will also look at it. And so it kind of, spreads the information farther. That picture of the kids is the first time that I handed those books out after they planted trees with us. And it was super cool because they all sat underneath the shade of some nearby trees and just read their books and were so fascinated. And this one kid literally could not put it down. So it was pretty cool to see. And I have some circulating, but I wanted to just show you what the inside of it looked like. So here's the front page. second page, so it just kind of gives them more background on the trees that are here in California and ones that they would interact with in their environment that they live in. Some more information about trees that grow locally in Butte County. And just like a little fun activity. Supplies for planting trees and climate change. More stuff. Okay, more of fun information. So here I'm going to go into school tree planting events. Lots of fun. Every single tree planting event in a school is very different, and lots of different kids that I've interacted with, very diverse range of young children who will hopefully be land stewards in the future after planting a tree with me on their campus. The first tree planting event as part of this program was at Parkview Elementary School. We planted 4 trees. You can see in one of the pictures there is a gentleman reading a book to the students. That's the City of Chico's Urban Forester. He mostly planned this event for me and gave me a lot of points and ideas on how to run a tree planting event. This is in the very first stages of having the Trees Please grant, so I was very unfamiliar with what to do, and he kind of just showed me how to do an event like that, which was really cool. It's definitely a learning experience. I did take his idea of giving a book to the kids and then also putting a sticker on the inside of the book. His does look a little bit different than the ones we ended up creating. I think ours is a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. And he had a hand washing station, which I thought was kind of cool, but it makes for a lot more work when there's bathrooms usually conveniently located. So I scrapped that idea and took his book idea. So Rosedale Elementary School was the first tree planting event at a school that I did by myself. It was very scary, definitely a learning experience, and it was a lot of fun though. You can see the gentleman in the orange shirt is showing the kids something, and we actually bring worms to tree planting events with children. Turns out they love it a lot. And kids get kind of wild and they get very uninterested very fast sometimes. So a way to bring them back is to have somebody circulating with a worm and then some other kids, you know, throwing dirt in the holes. So that way you're keeping a whole classroom engaged versus having some kind of just scurrying around causing trouble or whatever kids do when they're bored. Neil Dow Elementary School, we planted 5 trees. This was the first time I played a game. As you can see, all those kids kind of all over the field. So I created a game called Guess That Tree, and they would pair up, and one kid would close their eyes and the other was a leader, and the leader would take their partner to nearby trees and have them touch the tree, and then they would go back to the starting point, and then they would have to guess the tree based on the way it felt. And turns out that that was a huge disaster. Like, I wanted to do something fun with the kids, but it took a lot of time, and teachers are very to their schedule, and, you know, if you give a 30-minute planting block, they're there for 29 minutes and then they're out of there. And that took up a lot of time, and the kids didn't get to spend as much time planting the tree. And they also got super crazy and they would get hit. They would hit their heads on the trees, and it was all bad, but I thought it was a great idea, so I scrapped that. But I got my first book from a teacher after we finished tree planting, which was super cool to see everything. I could show you some of the inside. So I'm not sure if the kids were drawing me with the tree or themselves, but I don't know if everybody can kind of see. They wrote like a little note, and yeah, it was just super cool to have the kids do this. Yeah, so that was just a good memory to have. I have some other ones from other classes that participated in different tree plantings, and if anybody wanted to take a look at those, I have those as well. As you could see, there's some of the worms, or just one worm, but the kids, you know, they like holding them, playing with them, and they're a lot of fun. Hooker Oak Elementary School was a really special tree planting for me because they have a garden class, and so during the course of a week, every single class has a garden period. So I did a tree planting event with the school for 5 days, and I engaged with every single student on that campus by planting a total of 14 trees over the course of 5 days. I felt like a rock star going on their campus every day, because they would be waving at me, cheering at me, running up to me, being like, hey, you're planting more trees today. So that was really cool. The kids, one of them, they were around a hole and they just started singing a song, and it was super wholesome, and I love planting trees with that school. TV High School was the first high school that I planted trees in, and to this date, the only one. We planted 5 trees there, and yeah, that was just a good day. Totman Elementary School, we had 2 different tree planting events. We planted 15 trees there, and the first day was with just some random classrooms, and then the second day was with the after-school program, which totaled about 120 kids. We planted 5 trees in Sherwood Montessori School. This was a tree planting event that was in the massive downpour of rain, which was not fun for me. But the kids, they loved it. We gave them ponchos and stuff, so I think that made it better. Little Chico Creek received 10 trees on National Arbor Day, which was on April 28th. If I hope all of you know that that was National Arbor Day, considering we're all tree people. But yeah, that was a good day as well. Now moving on to park tree planting events. Oakway Community Park was the first park that I planted trees in. That was 12 trees, and this tree planting took a very long time. Most of our volunteers had to leave after planting like 3 trees, and that left 3 of us planting the rest of the trees, so it was very time consuming, but I check on the trees periodically and they look amazing, which is super awesome. Noble Park and Paradise, we planted over 200 trees over the course of 2 days. We had various community partners and made it a huge event. As you can see in the middle, that is Ken doing a biochar demonstration. You could see the biochar on the bottom corner in a Home Depot bucket. We also partnered with CSE Chico's Ecological Reserve's forest therapy program. So they led a forest therapy session prior to planting trees in the morning, which was like a way for volunteers to connect with the environment before giving back to it by planting trees. Here we planted 6 of our 15-gallon trees, and then the other 200 trees were a part of Paradise Parks and Recreation District, their grant, which I think they're still completing. A lot of trees were needed to go in the ground. I think they had to put over 1,000 trees in the ground. Yeah, so this was a really good time. We drew in about 200 volunteers. 20th Street Community Park received 12 trees during a massive downpour of rain, and they, despite the weather conditions, they pushed through it and had a good time. And if any of you plant trees in the rain, I highly recommend bringing rain ponchos, because it really makes a difference. I didn't wear one, and I got completely soaking wet, so I would recommend the ponchos. And food in the morning, that's very important when it's raining, and hot coffee. Oroville Centennial Park received 11 trees on Earth Day. This was a good day for planting trees. Nothing really in particular to note at this park. The Card Community Center received 3 trees in December. Rotary Centennial Plaza received 6 trees. Recently, one of those trees died, so tree care and maintenance is very important. The Hmong Cultural Center, so here's where that and shared spaces comes into play as for this program. We planted 5 trees also on Earth Day, and I wasn't there for this event. I was at the other location, but it looks like they had a good time, and it was a really beautiful day. This event just happened on Tuesday. We planted 10 trees in Bedrock Park. We had very few volunteers show up for this one, so it's important to have your events planned ahead of time. But we did have the City of Oroville's Parks tree crew come out and help us plant trees. So that was a fun experience planting trees with them. They thought that me and my coworker were the ones mainly planting the trees, so we had a lot of these people standing around. But we were making men post in the post, so that was a good way to get back at them for that. And then the Nature Center was our most recent planting. On the same day, we planted 8 trees there, and it was just a really nice park. We had valley oaks and live oaks planted there to keep it more of a native area. Some upcoming events to finish our 180 tree goal in May, and then waiting till the summer months cool, pushing it by planting in September because it's still pretty hot. But we have Hewitt Park, Gridley High School, and Orland School District coming up soon. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening to me about the Trees Please program, and also to our community partners that have helped this Trees Please program be the amazing program that it is, and a staple in Chico. Thank you.
Well, boy, for that being your first time presenting publicly, I think that was pretty good, right? Yeah, let's give another round of applause. Natural right here. Okay, we got some questions.
Whose tube that you use, can that be reusable?
Yeah, absolutely. They are not very hardy, and after a while, the sun kind of beats them down, and so they get holes in them. But you most definitely can reuse it if it doesn't wither away.
You showed us a lot of schools there, and for any of us who have tried to work with schools, when you saw the next one, were you like, wow, and the next one, like, wow, those were all different schools? Can you please tell us a time period in which you planted all of those schools?
So I started planting in schools last year, and the majority of those schools were last spring, and then some in the fall, and then some this spring. So over the course of about a year, with planting not happening during the summertime.
My follow-up question, I found them to be school districts. Buildings and grounds really resistant to getting off riding mowers to get around trees and all of those kinds of details. Can you give us some secret sauce about dealing with districts?
Some secrets about working with the districts and the maintenance departments? Well, luckily, our executive director serves on the school board for Chico Unified, so She was our main connection with Chico Unified. But I did a lot of outreach, and some other schools took interest in that, and so I'm able to plant in Gridley Unified School District, and Orland School District, and those are coming up, but so far I've planted only in Chico Unified, so we'll see if those other ones come through, but they seem very intrigued by this program.
Hi, I'm Arlene with Canopy. We also plant at schools, and more recently, we've actually had projects fall through due to capacity issues. Is there any voicing of concerns over watering and how staff are doing? And if there are, how are you guys navigating that?
So there is one school in particular that had a watering issue last summer, and we installed the ooze tubes, and me and the principal took turns watering the trees with the ooze tube, and we purchased a hose that was like 150 feet long, connected 2 hoses together, whatever, to make sure these hoses could get watered. So the ooze tube is definitely a way to deal with that issue, and just working with school staff and doing the watering yourself whenever you can, and just making sure that the schools can get an irrigation system hooked up as soon as possible.
Hi. I was really excited about your activity book, but I looked online and it didn't seem like you can access that. How can we see a copy or share it with others?
I have some circulating here today. I don't know if it's made it to your table or not. We were discussing about putting that available online, but that's still in discussion. I'd be happy to give you a copy that you can take with you.